Hello and welcome to this video. In this video, I'm going to be going over veins, arteries, and capillaries. So, what I do suggest is that you take a paper and a pencil and that you sketch these out like they are shown here, and try to follow along and label as you go through and write notes, and that will definitely help you remember the features of veins, arteries, and capillaries. I do have another video on the heart, so do check that out if you'd like to know more about the heart and the circulatory system overall. So let's get straight into it. So veins, these carry the blood. Okay, so these carry blood to the heart. Okay, they are always going in the direction, leading blood always towards the heart. Okay, and the blood is deoxygenated except for the pulmonary vein. So let me write that a bit better. Pulmonary vein. Right, so I've actually got the diagram of the heart somewhere here. So here is the pulmonary vein, and it actually goes, so the left side of the heart works so that blood goes to the lungs, comes back from the lungs through the pulmonary vein at very low pressure. And that leads me to the next point, which is that blood is at low pressure. Okay, blood is at a low pressure. Right? And therefore, because blood is at a very low pressure, so if you imagine looking vertically down at a vein, okay, blood would be flowing at a very low pressure, and therefore it has a chance that it might come back. Okay, but we don't want that. We want maximum efficiency. We want that blood to go straight towards the heart, and we don't want that blood to flow backwards. Okay, so therefore, veins have a structure, veins have valves. Okay, so these prevent the backflow of blood. Okay, valves which prevent backflow of blood. Okay, so they prevent blood from flowing backwards, right? And then if you notice about what it looks like on the diagram, okay, this is where blood is going through, and this is the wall. Okay, so this right here is the wall of the vein, and as you notice, okay, this is called the lumen. So this here, right, the bit that where blood flows through, this is called the lumen, and this is generic. So what I mean is, it's the hole through which blood is flowing through. Okay, and that is the same for the artery. So this is lumen as well. So I will be referring to the lumen, and this is the lumen here. Okay, so I'll be referring to the bit through which the blood passes through. That is called the lumen, and as you can see here, veins have a pretty big lumen compared to arteries and to capillaries, and it decreases like so. So it decreases as you go down. So the lumen is quite big, so I'll write big lumen. Okay, in comparison to the arteries and the capillaries. Okay, and lastly, so you can say large lumen, large internal lumen, and then you've got quite thin walls. So if you notice about the walls that I was talking about, okay, the wall is a lot bigger here. It's a lot thicker for the arteries, but a lot thinner for the veins. So you can say that the walls are very thin. So thin walls. Okay, and those are all the main features of veins, right? So if you make a note of that, and then we'll move on to the arteries. So, right, the arteries, they carry blood, okay, away from the heart. Right? And blood is carried at a high pressure. So if you remember from my video on the heart, ventricles pump blood out of the heart at very high pressure. Okay, that force is needed so that that blood can reach all the parts of the body. Okay, and the other side of the heart, which is the right side, works so that that blood can reach the lungs. So blood coming out of the heart is either going to the whole body, which is why it needs to be at high pressure, or it's going towards the lungs, where it needs to go through gas exchange and to take in oxygen and remove that carbon dioxide. So blood in the arteries is always flowing at a high pressure, and you can kind of tell because it's got thick muscular walls and thick walls overall. That is to withstand the pressure. If blood was flowing at a high pressure in the veins, it likely would be that this could rupture, for example, because veins are not adapted for that high pressure. They're adapted for low pressure, and that therefore they have valves, they have thin walls. They are adapted for low pressure. Arteries, on the other hand, have a thick wall because they are adapted for carrying blood at a much higher pressure. Okay, that is to withstand that pressure so that the arteries do not burst. Right? And that is why I will write down thick, okay, thick muscular walls. I'll write that down here. So let me write that again. Thick muscular walls. Right? Okay. And okay, a much smaller lumen, okay, smaller lumen, okay, and this is compared to, so I'm writing smaller because compared to, keep in mind that this is compared to veins, right? But the lumen is a lot bigger compared to capillaries, right? And one key bit to note, okay, one last point to note is that the blood that the arteries are carrying are always oxygenated. Okay, except, okay, and write that, except for the pulmonary artery. So if we look back to the heart again, the pulmonary artery is here. Okay, so blood comes in and goes from the pulmonary artery to the lungs, and as I said, it needs to be at a high pressure, and this is carrying deoxygenated blood. So this is the only exception. Otherwise, arteries tend to carry oxygenated blood. Right, moving on to capillaries. Right, capillaries are found, okay, in muscles and lungs. So capillaries are very, very tiny, and you can already tell from the diagram that they are very, very tiny. And this is so that when blood flows through it, okay, it can provide the nutrients to the tissues surrounding it. And that's why it's very small, so that blood, okay, can directly put those nutrients into the tissues and can grab all the waste material from the tissues back into the blood, and that is how capillaries work. Okay, and therefore capillaries are adapted for this. They are 1 cell thick. Okay, 1 cell thick. So you can see here that the cells here have nucleuses, so that's why I've drawn this, so you can see that this is just one layer of cells. This is not like a big wall like the artery or the veins have. Okay, blood is flowing at a very low pressure, okay, even lower than the pressure in veins. So the blood is very much at very, very low pressure and is flowing through here, okay, and this is where also, okay, like I said, gas exchange occurs, not just in the lungs, in the tissues of the body as well. So tissues, okay, so tissues around the body are provided with oxygen and the blood removes, the blood that flows through it also takes back that carbon dioxide waste from the tissues. Okay, so this is where gas exchange occurs, and this is quite a big thing for capillaries. That's why capillaries have to be efficient by being one cell thick. This reduces the diffusion distance. Okay, so it makes the diffusion pathway a lot shorter. So maximum diffusion, okay, reduces diffusion distance, right? And that is just a quick but detailed highlight of the veins, arteries, and capillaries. Again, if you'd like to revise the heart as well, do check out that video. But that is all for today. So I hope that this was useful, and also do like this video, do subscribe, and also check out my other links for signing up for tuition sessions and also my Etsy shop for more learning resources.